Hi, I'm Mars from StrataGames, and today we're playing some Dimir Terror in Pauper. I played quite a bit of Dimir Fairies. I've started playing quite a bit of Mono Blue Terror. This is a mashup of the two. You, of course, get your black splash, so you get your snuff outs, suffocating fumes, cast downs, to have some nice board clear and just general removal, which is a little bit better than Mono Blue Terror that only has the ability to bounce or, tuck a creature a little bit. I'm not saying this deck is better. It's probably not quite as efficient because we have to have a bunch of tap lands. We are playing 1 Bojuka Bog, 6 Contaminated Aquifer / Ice Tunnels, and then other than that, all islands. So only one source that's only black mana because we're still a mostly blue deck. We do also get a 1 of Unexpected Fangs, which can give lifelink permanently, as well as a counter to our Tolarian Terror or a Gurmag Angler, which these are the two creatures that we are trying to win with. 4 of each, so we have 8 total, but those are the only creatures in the deck, so we need to protect them very desperately. How we're doing that is, of course, with counter spells. We have 4 counterspell. We're trying to find them with Brainstorm. We mill into our graveyard with Mental Note and Thought Scour. Deep Analysis is a nice way to refill our hand a little bit. Lorien Revealed, of course, can find any of our lands or just be a draw 3. 1 of Spell Pierce also protects, and then 4 Disrupt. I'm trying this list from Against, aka Alexander Weber on the PFP, and I was actually playing against him the other day, and I got by Disrupt quite a few times in my Is It Fairies video. Counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays 1 and draw a card. So Force Spike's already an extremely narrow card. Now this is Force Spike only for instants or sorceries, but it also just cycles. So it can be a 2-for-1 for a single mana if you get really lucky, or you can just pinch your opponent's mana a little bit and you still don't lose anything from that. Casting this early is almost always going to get you a 2-for-1 if you catch like a Cleansing Wildfire on turn 2, but also just fills your graveyard. So honestly, a really cool one that I'm looking forward to trying out. And then our sideboard, 4 Blue Elemental Blast, 2 Steel Sabotage, 2 Annul, split for the artifact matchups, 1 Arms of Hadar for more board clear, another Unexpected Fangs, a couple Extracted Confession, Rotten Reunion, and a couple Nile Spell Bombs. So let's take it for a league and see how we do. You can now pick up my comprehensive guide to Esper Cryo Affinity, including 38 sideboard matchups, and I just put out a big update for my Black Sack guide, including a slightly different deck list. I began offering coaching sessions if you're interested in taking your Pauper game to the next level, and I'm accepting deck donations, so if you desperately want me to play a deck that I usually wouldn't play, something like Elves, or maybe you want me to suffer through High Tide, then you can make me do that for a small fee. I've started posting a league video every single day, not to mention streaming at least a couple times a week on Twitch, but I'm not going to be able to keep that up forever unless I can get a little bit more help from the community. Any of the ways I've just mentioned are great ways to help me out, or you can even subscribe and support me on a monthly basis. All right, we're on the draw here, but this hand looks all right. I mean, we just have Disruption, which I guess is what we're going to want against, literally Disruption, against Cycle Storm. I guess I'm going to take a slight risk and just play an Aquifer. I feel like there's probably no way that they try to go off on turn 2, in which case we're not going to get any use out of the Disrupt, and that seems to be the case. Play an island here and pass. Cycle a healer, cycle a Carabid, and they're just going to pass. They don't even have a land drop here. Of course, all of our removal is going to be useless, pretty much, but our counter spells are all good. Actually, they did have a land, Barrenmore. They just decided to cycle it instead of cast it, or play it, which is interesting. Gonna pass again, and they just discard a Lotus Petal. Interesting. I guess if I Mental Note into 2 spells and then find a Gurmag or a Terror, I could get it down this turn. I'm still holding up Disrupt and Spell Pierce, even if I do that, so I think I'm gonna go for it. Chances are low, but if I do hit, and I did hit a Gurmag. I actually hit a Terror, but it doesn't matter what I hit if I get a Gurmag, because I can just do all of this. So this is gonna give them less time to mess around. And the fact that we still have 2 counter spells, I think Disrupt's going to be pretty good here, seeing as they don't have very much mana. Of course, they play Rituals and things like that, but if we can like Spell Pierce the first one and then Disrupt the second one, could be okay. Cycle a Street Wraith, cycle a Drannith Stinger, cast a Lotus Petal. I think that will let resolve. Blood Celebrant. That's fine too. I can cast that down if I want to. I guess it's just a way to chump and save him an extra turn. I guess I'd rather probably hold up a full other counterspell instead of casting this down, so we'll just swing. They don't chump. I could Brainstorm, but if we whiff on a land, then I'm holding up one less piece of interaction. Okay. I'll Brainstorm on the end step here. Fangs could be relevant. Bojuka Bog's actually really good. So we'll put back 2 Snuff Outs. Could they go off at the end step here if I want to Fangs this? Probably not. I still have a Spell Pierce up. I don't know. We're just going to cast this on this. Figure some life gain could be relevant. And they have enough spells in, enough cyclers in their graveyard that Bojuka Bog's could be pretty good here, I think. We gain 6, go for the Bog. And if they go for like Reaping and stuff in response, they cycle a Drannith Healer in response. Interesting. Yeah, I guess they're going to try to Songs of the Damned or Dark Ritual, but I'm going to Spell Pierce that. If they have another Dark Ritual or Songs of the Damned, I can disrupt it. Yep, there's the Songs. Disrupt. All right. Nice first match, even though we got a lot of kill spells that didn't matter. We had a lot of counter magic. Basically, all of these are useless. We get Spell Bombs, Rotten Reunion, Steel Sabotage counters Lotus Petal. That's not very good. Blue Blast can counter Drannith Stinger. That's not very good either, but it's better than these cast downs and things. I guess Fangs does seem okay. I feel like countering a Lotus Petal is better than countering the Drannith Stinger, which usually is only going to be cast right at the end. So, I mean, Steel Sabotage can also bounce a land, but I don't think that's super relevant. Yeah, these are not great. These 3 I'm not loving bringing in, but they're better than cast downs, I think. This one's not going to work. Then again, if we sat out all of our removal, sometimes they pivot to a game plan of playing out their like big creatures from their sideboard, but I'm going to keep this one. We have a Bojuka Bog, really good. Disrupt can be decent, and 2 Mental Notes, so hopefully we can do the same thing where we just get a early Gurmag. I'll play an Aquifer, same reason as before. I don't think we're going to disrupt on turn 1, even on their turn 2. We did get a Brainstorm, so I can Brainstorm Mental Note, cycle a couple more. They're going to pass. Let's go for the Brainstorm. Deep Analysis, and just Lorien. We have land drops for a couple turns. Yeah, let's do that. Mental Note. The more Mental Notes, potentially the better because of the Gurmags, I think. If 3 cards, I don't think I need to cast those. Bojuka Bog them, that is. So let's just pass here, cycle a healer, and just that. Great Furnace and pass. Mental Note, Brainstorm, Mental Note. I think it's unlikely that if we tap out they can do anything about it, really. Spellbomb's pretty good. Another Disrupt. I don't think we need the Sabotage or Thought Scour. Mental Note, untap, Deep Analysis. So if I play a Spellbomb, it's possible they brought in Siege Smash, so it would be one I'd probably want to use right away. They only have 3 in their grave. I kind of think we're going to Island, and I'm going to Deep Analysis here. I'll have to discard, but I can just discard another Deep Analysis if I want, and I'll just hold up 2 Disrupts, which, you know, does not necessarily stop them from doing what they're doing. Lotus Petal. Another Lotus Petal. Okay, feels like they're going off here. Duress. You got it. They can take a spell, or one of 3 Disrupts. Although, now they can play around the Disrupt just fine. And they know about the Bojuka Bog. They do take one of them after all. Interesting. Songs of the Damned for 4. I think that's fine. 5 mana, they're just going to cast a Horror of the Broken Lands, or 2. This would be 8, 10 mana. That's kind of what I'm thinking. They're just going to cast a couple creatures, and then if I let this go and then don't disrupt, and then they do that, I don't have a lot to do. So I'm going to cast this mostly to cycle these, I think. Cabal Ritual in response. Because they do have 7 in their grave. Sure. Well, I guess I'm building up their storm count a little bit, but they don't even have, they only have 4 cards that they can cycle in their graveyard, so Reaping the Graves doesn't even matter that much. I mean, it matters fine. It draws them 4, but it doesn't, like, adding to it doesn't really change anything, I don't think. Another Cabal Ritual. 1 card left. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to cast the Disrupt. Why not? They know we have it. They're going to play around it. I might as well turn them into some real other cards. They go up to 12 mana. So yeah, if they have the Reaping, then they can cast after that, like Horror, and yeah, they do. Storm's 10, but again, they have 4 creatures to get back. They have to choose all the targets now, but they get them back, then they start cycling them before the Songs resolve so that they still end up getting the mana back. And then if they draw more guys to cycle, they can cycle more and get more. Like, they could go off here, but it seems tough from the position they're in. But I think with the Duress, they saw the Bojuka Bog and realized it just wasn't getting any better, was my assumption. So they cycle those. They found a Baronmoor and a Street Wraith. Another Vantasaur. They cycle a Carabid, cycle the Horror. They end up with 7 mana after all that. And they find another Reaping. I guess that is pretty decent, because now they're getting back more than they had before. They have like 7 creatures now. They need to find another Songs to be able to keep this going, but they certainly could. Cycle a bunch more. They hit a Lotus Petal, and they concede. They did not find a Songs, I assume is what they needed to keep going. Maybe just not a Dark Ritual or anything at all, and we're able to take down the first match. Round 2 here, we have 3 Gurmags. Unfortunately, these don't stack up like Terrors. This hand doesn't look great even if these were all Terrors, but certainly not with Gurmags that all need to feed from the same thing. This hand's fine, not exceptional, but We can get rid of an island. We have a Brainstorm and a Lorien to smooth it over a little bit. Opponent plays a mountain. Alright, play an island and pass. I've started finding that I kind of like... I don't love brainstorming right away, even if I have a Lorien for the upkeep, because then I can't necessarily hold up a counterspell, which obviously I don't know if I'd have here. They go for a Flame Breather. We have Lorien to cycle for a Snuff Out, which is going to cost us 4 life on the Flame Breather. Or I could wait an extra turn, maybe take some damage, and then I cast it down. I think I'm probably going to get use out of both of these, so I think I'd rather just snuff it out. So I think we're going to put back Deep Analysis Island and just cycle the Lorien for an Aquifer. All right. Yeah, so we're taking 4 damage, which obviously I don't love against a burn opponent, but cast down's probably going to get used anyway. I'd rather just use the snuff out now. This also lets us brainstorm. Yeah, like we're going to cast this down. I could brainstorm Lorien here, and then we have a Gurmag for pretty cheap. Well, we're going to do that. Ooh, okay. Bojuka Bog's nothing against them. Mental Note. So I can Mental Note instead of Lorien, which is better because then I can get a Terror down. Let's see. This is 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I'm going to have to put back the Bog and the Lorien here. But then I Mental Note. This puts me at 6 spells in Grave. So now I can cast down and play a Terror, and then next turn I can Gurmag and hold up a counterspell, and I think that should just be able to do it. Maybe if they sneak in another Gutter Snipe here. Yeah, maybe if we don't have a removal spell for that, they'll be okay. Swing for 5. Okay, well, we got the island, so we have the mana to Mental Note. Still cast everything in our hand, but if I get a cast down, changes things a little bit. We didn't. So specifically exile lands and creatures here. We're still in a pretty good spot. This is a 2-turn clock. Even through a block with the Gutter Snipe, we can counterspell a Grab the Prize, which I will, probably. Still so much damage. We go to 11 off of this. No, 9 because of that. Jeez. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm dead either way to a Bolt plus a Fire Blast, but definitely have to counter the draw too. Lava Dart. Yeah, Lava Dart plus Fire Blast does it as well. Well, they had everything. I feel like we had a very good start. They just had every exact card they needed. We even killed the first 2 guys and it did not matter. Here we get 4 Blast. Reunion can catch Snackers, maybe Spell Bombs. Obviously Fangs. This might be too many cards, but let's just see where we're at. Obviously, we want to cut out the Snuff Outs and Deep Analysis because they all cost life. Fumes doesn't do too much. Disrupt could be pretty good here. Spell Pierce 2. I mean, honestly, we don't have that many removal spells. That cutting Snuff Outs feels a little bad to actually kill the Gutter Snipes, but I guess Blue Blast fills that role too. Don't really know what I want to cut otherwise. Maybe we don't need both Spell Bombs here. Sure. All right. We have Fangs, Reunion. We have some decent interaction, but just not really going anywhere. No guarantee to hit lands. We have the Fangs and everything. I don't think we can keep that, though. Well, this is worse. Actually, no. I wasn't noting the Lorien revealed. I guess we have to start on the Bojuka Bog, which is really annoying. But then I find an island. No, this is actually keepable. I didn't notice the Lorien revealed, and I thought it was just 6 blue spells and a Bojuka Bog, which is technically true, but I guess we keep this one, get rid of a Brainstorm. Yeah, a little unfortunate because this could catch a Snacker or whatever, but can't do much about it. Especially if they Faithless Looting turn 1. Yep, there's a Snacker. Aquifer. I think it's important enough that I hold up a Blue Blast / Disrupt here. Then I'm going to do that, because if they go for a Grab the Prize, I would like to disrupt it so badly. Turn that their 2-for-1 plus Snacker into a 2-for-1 for me. Flame Breather. Well, I'll just blast that. Play an Aquifer and pass. Another Flame Breather. They got them all. Okay, but they did miss a land drop. Let's Brainstorm. All right, we want to hit our land drop. I don't think I can afford to keep 2 Disrupts. Although they look pretty good if they're missing lands. If they cast like something next turn. I could get rid of a Terror. That doesn't seem very good. I guess we'll get rid of one of them, but I don't have to Mental Note here, especially if I use this Disrupt. I won't end up using the Mental Note. Then I can draw the second Disrupt. They swing for 1. And if we don't use this one, I think I will Mental Note because I'd rather use my mana and mail a couple cards. This does put our Terrors as 1-drops. Another one. Okay, well, if they Pyro this, I probably let it go, but then I cast another Terror, and if they Pyro that, I can double Disrupt it. Yep, they have the second Pyroblast. Unlike double Force Spike that feels really rough, double Disrupt isn't actually that bad because we get to draw back both of our cards. So it's not a 2-for-1, but it's a 3-for-2. Plus keeping around the Terror is pretty good. Ooh, okay, and a Gurmag was an insane draw there. If we can just get like an unexpected Fangs off the top, we'll be in a real good spot. But either way, we're not doing too bad. They flashback Faithless Looting. That's going to get back their snacker. Pings for 1. Try to find some more stuff. They discard a Lava Dart and an Epic Cure, so they have all gas probably, unless they have like they kept a land they want to play. Yeah, there it is. Maybe for another Pyro, maybe just Bolt. Thought Scour, let's just cast that. Brainstorm, or cast that too. Okay, not great now. I mean, Terror's not bad. Maybe we can just finish them off pretty quickly with these, but double land on top. If they draw really well, we could definitely die through that. There's a Robbery. Sacrifice a land. Alright, they pass. We draw an island. Swing with the team. I mean, they have to double chump unless they have like 2 bolts on the Gurmag, which would also be fine. Okay, they do block here, so they're probably going to bolt down the Gurmag. They do it before... No, they bolt us. Okay, fair enough. That does make sense. Before the Flame Breather goes out. Down to 5. We're at 11 life. Let's hope we can survive, because if so, I think these 3 should be able to get the job done. Another Flame Breather, Epicure. Okay. Lava Dart in the grave. Okay, yeah, we're good. I was like, Lava Dart, Fire Blast doesn't quite kill us. They need one more blocker, and they don't have it. I think maybe I'd prefer the Spell Bomb on the play, or on the draw, / just kind of in general. The black mana from the Reunion for the snackers is really tough to have on turn 1. Actually, it's impossible to have on turn 1 because I have no untapped black sources. This one's not going to work. All right, this one's not bad. Get rid of an island. So yeah, this way I could like play a Spellbomb turn 1, especially if they Faithless Looting. Start with an Epicure. They start with an Epicure, so... I guess I hold up the Disrupt, because I can counter a draw 2, whereas a Spell Bomb could stop the snacker but wouldn't counter the whole thing. Plus this lets me cycle the Lorien when they probably don't cast anything. Yeah, they plot the Highway Robbery. Cycle Lorien, get an Aquifer. I'm going to play the Aquifer just so that we can have Cast Down up next turn if I need it. If they like play Gutter Snipe here. Flame Breather. Highway Robbery. Can't counter that. If they discard like a Fiery Temper, I can disrupt that. Now they discard a Lava Dart. Obviously they're playing around the Disrupt, which makes sense. Second Disrupt. So I could play a Spellbomb and hold up double Disrupt and Counterspell, and then if I don't use that, I can cast this down. I think that's worth it. Usually I want to cast down right away, but a Gutter Snipe's even scarier. So if I like cast down and then they get through a Gutter Snipe and I can't counter it, that's pretty bad. We'll take 2. There's a Gutter Snipe, which we will Counterspell. I guess they could Pyro. Yeah, I can't do much about that, since I didn't leave up the mana for the Disrupt. Now I can cast down the Gutter Snipe. They can Lava Dart in response for 4 damage. Pretty good. I guess I could Disrupt the Lava Dart, but that only counters 1 damage of it. I think that's probably not worth it. If they go for like a Fire Blast here, I can Disrupt that, and they do. Okay, well, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna Disrupt the Fire Blast. We go to 6 here, and then the Flame Breather Epicures can attack, put us to 4. Well, hopefully they don't have a Bolt or anything at all, or we'll die here. Us missing a land drop was pretty unfortunate, although they don't have it. Blue Blast is great. Okay, so we can Blue Blast the Flame Breather. They could have a Pyro. Yep. Well, we're going to Disrupt that. Bajuka Bog. I mean, a land drop is a land drop, but we don't have a mana. We don't have a way to do anything here. Anyway, I'm going to Terror. If we can find an unexpected Fangs. I mean, we die to a Bolt, but Fangs off the top would be great. They have a Flame Breather as their last card. Okay. Well, I can only cast 1 counter spell, and then I can Gurmag. So I'm going to Spell Bomb just to find something. No. Aquifer. Is there anything they could cast for that would deal us just 2 damage here? Or 1 damage? I don't think so. That would like... Because they could attack with both if they want to get in for 1 damage. Cast something. But like a Pyroblast or an Epicure only deals us 1. I think it's fine. We have Counterspell for anything else. Come on, Unexpected Fangs. We got 2 of them in the deck now. Terror after the Gurmag is pretty bad. I have to keep attacking. I can only attack with 1 here though. Because if I attack with both, they could just take it. And then they could deal me 2, and they could cast something even through a counterspell. I would die. I mean, this way, oh, they have the bolts. Well, I have the counterspell, but now if they just have anything they can cast, I'm gonna die. Yep, Faithless Looting. Okay. I mean, technically I should counter this, but if I counter it, it really shows that I have nothing at all and they're going to attack with them for sure. But maybe they hesitate because I could have like a Red Blast, but yeah, probably not. Man, if I had Fangs here, oh, it'd be so good. Well, that's pretty unfortunate. All right, we got basically all lands, but what's the worst that could happen? Honestly, this hand's pretty decent against a blue opponent. Well, Terror would have been my preference because of Bajuka Bog. I guess I just snuff this out because I don't want a ninja to happen. Okay, I played an island and for some reason it tapped it right away, which is really annoying. Obviously I don't have anything to cast here, but now I'm just showing that I don't have a counterspell, which I guess is fine because they're gonna just hard cast a hacker. I mean, we don't actually have a way to take advantage of this. Oh my gosh. Well, yes, I kept a hand that was pretty much all lands and Lorians, but I've drawn only lands, Lorians, and other draw spells. Usually when your opponent just casts a Moonstrucker Hacker, you're in a really good spot. We're in a fine spot. If they just loot here, it's not the end of the world, but they could maybe have swapped it for another ninja, but alright, maybe we're fine. Discard an island and pass. I feel like I already have plenty of lands. I don't need to cycle any of these Lorians, but maybe one would be reasonable. Brainstorm. I could Brainstorm, but I get Spell Stuttered. I mean, they cast a hacker, so maybe they don't have a Spell Stutter. That was a couple turns ago, though. I think I'm just going to Deep Analysis, and if they have a Spell Pierce or whatever, that's fine. If they don't, okay, I could snuff this out. Yeah, I guess we'll try to snuff it out in their upkeep. Feels like they don't have a lot going on. They do have the Dispel. Okay, they couldn't use that on the Deep Analysis. Makes sense. Well, now I'm down to 8 here. Bit unfortunate. They do find another hacker, so they get to just draw a card here. Another snuff out. Well, I'm going to Brainstorm. No Spell Stutter. Okay. We get to put back land, Lorien. I guess I could just hard cast a snuff out on this now. They have another Dispel. It's not the end of the world. Don't really want to pay 4 life for it. They have the Elder. Yeah, that's annoying. Well, I'm still going to cast this down. Well, snuff it out. They have a counterspell. Okay. I mean, theoretically, if we just get a terror or 2 here, we could still be in an okay spot. They're going to flip both creatures to draw 2 off the hackers. We're down to 4. They have a Humbling Elder in hand. We're going to Mental Note, Thought Scour, draw for turn, Brainstorm, Gurmag and Terror. Okay. Put back Lorien, Thought Scour, cast a Terror, cast a Gurmag, and we'll pass. I mean, our one of Unexpected Fangs in the main deck could make this, shore this up quite a bit. Cast the Humbling Elder. I guess if they have a removal spell for one of these guys and then another ninja, we're just dead. Snap on the Gurmag. Guess I'll Mental Note. I don't have a counterspell that gets this for 1 mana though. Block. They don't have the ninja, so we go to 1. Discard an of one mind. Play another one. I guess I'll Thought Scour. I have nothing else to do. Do it before a potential Spell Stutter. Brainstorm. Oh my gosh, we found the Fangs. Can I survive? We need this to not get countered. I mean, Disrupt, probably not going to help enough. We can only cast either Cast Down or Gurmag Angler. I guess Disrupt could, if it's like a snap with Ward, if that's all they have. All right, I can't cast 2 Gurmags this turn anyway. Let's just put these 2 back. Swing. Yeah, if they have a counter spell, I can't do anything about it because now I can't cast both Cast Down and Gurmag Angler, so we just have to hope it resolves. And it does. Oh my gosh. And we're back up to 7. Incredible. Okay, now I'm going to cast a Gurmag. There's no way they have a counter spell now, because I'm sure they would have countered that. If they have a snap, that's probably fine. Of one mind. Okay. They don't swing. Oh my gosh. Man, I love Unexpected Fangs. We're getting another Gurmag Angler, which I could cast, but now we get to just start attacking. They're going to take it down to 3. I could even cast a Deep Analysis now. I'm at 10 life. Well, that feels pretty good from being at 1 and now freely casting a Deep Analysis from the yard. Terror costs 3 mana. I can cycle the Lorien first. So now it only costs 2, which means I can hold up Disrupt and Cast Down. Fangs doing the Lord's work there. Against fairies, we get, maybe another Fangs. Obviously, the reason we were so low on life is we kept a very bad hand that I should not have won with, and I used a bunch of Snuff Outs. So it's not necessarily a great card for this matchup, but it's a possibility. Yeah, I guess everything else is kind of bad. Arms of Adar is decent. We'll bring that in. To be honest, though, I think the Fangs is actually the worst card in our main deck for them. Interaction, card draw, creatures, counterspells is all good. You did good, but now it's time for us to take over. And obviously, if we get in the same position and don't have an Unexpected Fangs as an out, I'm going to feel bad about it, but like I said, I just kept a hand that I probably should not have, and I will not keep a hand like that again. This one's bad. Yeah, this one's okay. We have no removal spell on a creature. I feel like Disrupt just isn't going to do that much. I could get it down an early Gurmag. Of course, they can just snap it and stuff. It's really rough in this matchup. Yeah, Disrupt's not the best in this matchup because a lot of their important cards are creatures, of course. Start with a Miscreant, so Snuff Out would be good, of course. Just play an Aquifer. They have the second Miscreant, and then if they have the Hacker, oh, that's so much value. Yeah, that's pretty brutal. Man, if we had the Snuff Out, we could have prevented both of those card draws. I guess we just counterspell the Miscreant. Fairy Seer. Yeah, that's fine. Scry 1 to the top. So they were doing that first to set up a land drop, I bet. So if I use these now, then I'm not going to get to hold up Counterspell, but if they just play an island pass, I don't want these to get spell stuttered, so I think I am going to Mental Note here and Thought Scour. Fumes is pretty good. I mean, I can't imagine they're going to tap out, but I guess theoretically if they just like played a Miscreant and nothing else, maybe it would be okay. But Miscreant hold up 1 mana, could just be a Dispel. There's no way I can get a Fumes through that, I don't think. Ugh. If we had 1 more mana, we could hold up the Disrupt too. And we milled a Deep Analysis, which generally would be okay. But if I want to Gurmag here, I have to exile the entire graveyard if I want to also hold up Counterspell, which I do. But I guess if I Gurmag, exiling the grave, hold up Counterspell, maybe they try to snap it or something, fight over it to the point where I can Counterspell and then like maybe tap them out for next turn so that I can Fumes Disrupt. That would be good. So yeah, we lost a Deep Analysis there, but I think maybe we need to bind the monster. So yeah, I'm going to Counterspell this. And if they like Spell Stutter, but then I can Suffocating Fumes. Okay, well they Dispel. I guess if they have an island and a Spell Stutter, then I can't disrupt that. That'd be unfortunate. I get it for 5. Been a Fairy Seer of 1 mind, but they're tapped out. Okay, that worked. I mean, we're not in an amazing spot by any means, but being able to Fumes their board is pretty nice here. I'm going to hold up the Disrupt on the off chance they just like hard cast enough 1 mind, which I could definitely see if they don't. You know, if they don't have a land drop, if they don't have creatures, they might just cast that. Scry 2 to the bottom. I guess now I can't Thought Scour without the fear of Spell Stutter, but there's always that risk. Terror. Okay, let's Scour, hope for the best. We hit 1 spell, so that's 4, so I can Terror and hold up a Disrupt. So if they have a counter spell, I can Disrupt it. That's what I want. All right, pretty good value here. Arms of Hadar, okay. Wipe their board twice in 1 game. They might have another Bind the Monster, but at least it uses up a bunch of their mana. Swing with the Seer. They have a Ninja the Deep Hours. Replay the Seer. I might just arms these 2 with Disrupt backup and then start attacking with the Terror. Scry 2 to the top. Yeah, I mean, Island means we have nothing else going for us. They could have like an Illvoid Galeblade or a Humbling Elder, both of which would let them get another Ninja down. Can't do much about those. No flash creature is nice. Yeah, I think I'm going to cycle this Disrupt. I'd love something else, and honestly making them pay an extra... I'd love to counter this, but making them pay an extra mana might mean that they don't get to play a fairy this turn. And Disrupt doesn't look super helpful. I could definitely use another real counter spell or something. Perfect. Obviously I was drawing that anyway, but I might get another card that's more helpful. You do have an island. Okay, Bojuka Bog, not great, but they're down to 5. I'm going to play this in case we get like a Lorien that I want to cast. Otherwise, I might want to hold 2 cards to bluff an extra interaction spell, but Moon Circuit Hacker, that's fine. I will say, now that this has, now that they're at 5, they can't bind the monster on this Terror because it would just kill them. I could have countered the Hacker, but if they just have to start chumping every turn, that's probably fine by me, and they do. And if they do that and then like flash out a Galeblade or something, that might be what I want to counter. Spell Stutter, yeah, they're definitely doing that because of a Ninja. I don't want them to get a Ninja. No, they have the Dispel. Oh, and if I had a Disrupt right there. I mean, I'm totally fine with my Disrupt play from before, but yeah, this could be pretty good. Another Off Own Mind. I guess maybe they're just flashing it out, not because of a Ninja, but because they're going to have to... They needed a creature to chump anyway, so they might as well save the mana. But they have a Miscreant. We are at 7. I guess if I could find a removal spell for this, they probably have a counter spell, but okay, another Terror is not bad. It either eats a counter spell or it makes it so they have to have 2 blockers every turn. Here's hoping they don't have the counter spell. They did. They swing with the Spell Stutter. That means they probably definitely found a Ninja. No, I guess they could just have another guy. Okay, they have a flash creature. I guess that means if I have a counter spell, I'll just draw nothing. Don't worry. Galeblade, yep, that draws them a new card. I guess if they have a Humbling Elder, at some point they can cast that, pay the ward cost to shrink it, and it won't even be lethal, and they won't have to chump. That'd be really annoying. I mean, Galeblade's annoying too, because they're chumping, but they also get their card back. Play a Tunnel. They have another Spell Stutter. None of our Lorien Revealeds have been put in the grave or anything. Ugh, they found the Hacker. Well, they have a Spell Stutter in hand. I can't imagine we can win this one now. So if we attack They spell stutter. We're dead on the crackback, so I have to draw something, and I have to then be able to play around whatever they have. Thought Scour just walks into the spell stutter. Okay, well, I guess I have to hold back with the terror then. If they cast spell stutter here, I go for a Thought Scour to try to find something. Well, now they have another Moon-Circuit Hacker. We're down to 1, and they have 2 spell stutters in hand. Ugh. That's so unfortunate after all of that. And now we're just dead on board, and they can counter unless we get a Snuff Out, something expensive that they can't counter. Now it's a mental note. Cast that. Thought Scour in response. They spell stutter that. No, they let that one go. Okay. I guess I counterspell this. If that resolves, then they probably spell stutter this again, and then I'll die. But if theoretically they let it all go, they hit the Dispel too. Okay, whatever. At the end there, they had it all. We did end up winning that first game, so we're still going. Again, Fangs looks kind of decent, honestly, when we get into that race spot. I think we would have liked to get a Fangs at some point there. They couldn't bind it at that point. Of course, if they get a snap, it's bad. But honestly, maybe this is worth it. Yeah, honestly, I think Disrupt is... It's okay, but it's not quite as good as it could be here. I don't know. Disrupt was still doing some work for sure. But Fangs actually seems kind of reasonable. All right, keep that. And there's no 1-drop sorcery or something they're going to play that I can Disrupt. So I'm just going to Mental Note right now. Ooh. Perfect. Deep Analysis that I could cast on turn 2. That's kind of cool. Miscreant. Unless I just need to cycle for Contaminated Aquifer and Snuff Out. Yeah, I think that's what I gotta do. These dang fairies. I mean, I guess I can Gurmag already. That's kind of cool. If I just want to get snapped real bad. There's a Strix. Cast Down. Okay, I can Cast Down with a Disrupt for a Dispel. Alright, that's pretty good. Keep the ninjas away. Still getting my Disrupt value. Disrupt is kind of a crazy card. Cast a Hacker. Okay. Cast Down. So I could Angler and Deep Analysis here. Well, we're going to Deep Analysis no matter what, because I might just cast this down. I would prefer to Angler, but then if they have a Snap or a Bind the Monster, it's not as great. Ooh, okay, but we have a Snuff Out, so I could do both then, if I want to do that. Sure. I might as well leave an extra card in the graveyard, so play an untapped land here, but let's Gurmag, Angler, and Snuff Out. I could wait until their turn to see if they tap this down or snap it, but I think I'd rather just kill that while I can. Yeah, there's the snap. Really annoying. That's why I wanted to leave an extra card in the grave. There's a Miscreant. Well, could have another Dispel. Let's Brainstorm first. Spell Pierce, perfect. Forgot we had one of those in the deck. Let's put back Lorien, Brainstorm, cast this down, and play an Aquifer. Brainstorm on top, so I could bin those both if I want, and then I could Gurmag. I think it's fine. I don't want to get this spell stuttered here. Let's Brainstorm. Perfect. More interaction. I almost want to... Well, now I want to cycle a Lorien for a land. I don't want to get rid of either of these or the Spell Pierce, but I almost want to hardcast a Lorien at some point. Maybe we just do this anyway. Thought Scour. We already have 5. Yeah, actually, let's Gurmag. I have a Spell Pierce for a counterspell, and I can Thought Scour if I really want. Plus, I have a Snuff Out. Spell Pierce also hits a Snap here, so that's nice. Unless they have a land first, which they might not expect. Well, can't do anything about that. I was going to say they might not expect the Spell Pierce just because they've seen so many Disrupts, but that worked. Yeah, I think I'd like to just cast a Lorien here. If they counterspell it, kind of annoying because we're going to tap out of the Spell Pierce, but alright, that worked nicely. No land, but next turn I can probably now cycle this Lorien for a land, no problem. Or just Brainstorm first. Counterspell's nice. Yeah, let's Brainstorm. Okay, Embarrassment of Riches. We don't... Lorien's going to be a bit arms as well. We have 2 spells in our grave. Yeah, actually, let's just mill those. That's 5. So I can play a Terror for 2. Hold up a counterspell. I'd rather hold up all of my counter magic, so let's just wait a turn. I don't need to run it out now. They have been pinched on mana, so Spell Pierce and Disrupt are going to be real contenders here. Real players. I can Brainstorm first, essentially for free, because we're going to play the Terror anyway, so let's do that. Okay, they're going to go for a Spell Stutter. Sure, I'll just counter that. Creatures are definitely worth countering. I'm at 9 life after all. Now I have a second Terror, and I can still hold up a Spell Pierce. Put back these. Terror. Terror. They find an island. That must have been their top deck. And they just cast a Ninja. Yeah, that's not going to do it. We'll snuff that out. I might as well use mana, but honestly, I think at 5 life even, we're going to be fine. But let's just hard cast this. Swing for 10, and Spell Pierce and Disrupt. We can snuff out the next guy. Yeah, alright. Alright, able to get that match after all. Round 4 here. We have a Cast Down and a Disrupt, so, some interaction. I think this is fine. Okay, well, we're against Mono White Heroic. So Disrupt maybe can catch an Emerge Unscathed, but that's about it. That's otherwise going to be a waste. Cast Down's going to be good, but it might be a little slow. We can counterspell next turn. Ooh, or do they only have 1 mana? That's really good. Okay, we're definitely cycling this for blue-black regardless. But the fact that they only have 1 land means I probably just want to get this down, because then I can... Like, I could hold up Counterspell here, but I think I'd rather get this down so that I can cast down, and even if they have an Emerge Unscathed, I can disrupt it. If they get their second land here and, like, go Benevolent Blessing, as they did get their second land... That would be unfortunate. Okay, Solid Footing gives it damage equal to its toughness, so we're going to take 8 here, but we're going to cast down, and if all they have is a Emerge Unscathed, or Apostle's Blessing or something, but yeah, there's the Emerge, we can disrupt it. Nice. I mean, this could have been a Spell Pierce, which honestly would be much better in this matchup, but the drawing a card here is pretty good, and if they get another creature down here when I don't have Counterspell, it could be tough. Yeah, there's a Wonder Weave. Cast down to be good. Another Counterspell's not bad, though. I'm just going to pass. We have double Counterspell, and I can mill a bunch, get a Terror down. It's not going to be able to erase this, but okay, if they're just attacking for 2, that's fine. They also have the Sentinel's Eyes from the grave, which they chose not to use. Skyguard, we're going to count another creature for sure. Brainstorm, Gurmag, okay. Spell Pierce is good, Counterspell's good, so I could put back this, Mental Note them away, so I can Gurmag and Terror, and then hold up Counterspell. Maybe not Spell Pierce the first turn, but I think that's okay. I think getting down both of our 5/5s is really important. And then Thought Scour is fine, but we want to get these down. Alright, so we have a 2-turn clock on them. I'll Counterspell anything that, like, protects, or, I mean, anything gives them flying, unfortunately. Like Sentinel's Eyes, but I'm not going to counterspell the Sentinel's Eyes. That's fine. Don't think I can afford to. Like, this isn't beating us in the race. Spirit Link would help, though. I'm going to Spell Pierce that, and then I can Thought Scour and then Counterspell, because even just a little bit of life would give them an extra turn. Thought Scour, another Counterspell's good. Okay, so I can counter anything they can cast, any 2 things they can cast, which means I can probably stop them from doing anything. They can put us to 2, but then they're going to have to chump the following turn. So even a 1-drop I'll counterspell. Okay, swing for 3. Maybe they're going to play another creature that they think they can chump with and then kill me with this next turn. But no, we're going to counter that, and we're going to counter that. If they had 1 more mana and like another creature or like an Emerge Unscathed or something, oh, but they concede because they're going to have to chump and they know they're not going to be able to come back from that. All right, that was nice. A lot of good counter magic. The Disrupt was amazing there, actually. Obviously, Spell Pierce would have been good too, but it was great. So Annul obviously hits all their stuff. Extract a Confession is really good. And Fangs makes it so they might not be able to race. I mean, if they get big enough, they will be able to, but if it's smaller, it's fine. Fumes isn't good. Deep Analysis is slow and causes loss of life. I do think some Disrupts can go. Yeah, this seems fine. I'll keep a couple Disrupts. They were still good. I mean, honestly, we could maybe bring in a Rotten Reunion for like the Sentinel's Eyes, but I don't know if we need that. We have a Fangs. We have a Counterspell. Okay. So Brainstorm and Mental Note. I mean, this could lose pretty quickly to like an early creature that I can't counterspell and then not finding a removal spell. Ooh, with double counterspell, that'd be really unfortunate, but I don't know. I still think this hand's okay. Maybe on the draw it's too slow. Oh, they have a 1-lander again, though. That's really nice for us. We're going to hold up Counterspell. Now we just need to find Extract a Confession. We can get through the Hyena Umbra even. Can counter anything relevant. If there's nothing super relevant here, I can also just Brainstorm Mental. Sentinel's Eyes. I mean, they get the counter regardless. It's only 1 more damage, but it gives Vigilance, which could be relevant if they do the other thing next turn. I think we just Counterspell. I don't know. I guess I could Brainstorm here, but even if I hit Extract a Confession, I might wait. I might try to milk it for a little bit more value. So I think we're just going to pass anyway. All right, they hit for 3. Just pass. So we get to Brainstorm. Spell Pierce is good. I think we can put back Land, Thought Scour, Mental Note. So that's going to be 4 spells in the bin. Okay, so I can Terror for 3 and then still leave up a Spell Pierce, which is good enough because they haven't hit their land drops. I mean, I guess if they hit a land drop, they could play 2 1-drops, but even with a counterspell, I can't do that. But this way I can get the Fangs going next turn, and that should be pretty good. Like, the main thing I'm worried about here is a Benevolent Blessing, protection from black. There's the Solid Footing. I think we have to let that go. It does make it 5 power. Could make the Fangs tough to deal with, but I mean, just about anything pumps it that much too. Now they're going to try to give it Vigilance again. No, now they're giving it protection from black and red. Yeah, we're going to counter that. This is also a 2-turn clock, but we have the Fangs. Yeah, no Vigilance is actually good. I'm pretty happy we got rid of the Sentinel's Eyes before, because that lets me Fangs here. Extract a Confession probably just wins us the game. That's really what we need. And no double black is annoying because I can't also Gurmag here, but I think this is decent enough that right now we're trading even, so they're losing 6 and we're not taking anything, so they might have to like hold back if they can't deal enough damage. But I guess if they cast a 1-drop, yeah, Ethereal Armor is really good. If I counter that, then they have Sentinel's Eyes, which pumps a bunch too, and gives Vigilance. This is going to make it 10 power. I have to let that go though, because otherwise they Sentinel's Eyes, they make it 12 power, or well, 12 toughness, and then we die. Not to mention they have a blocker for our guy, which is also bad. So take this down to 2. Extract a Confession, come on. Lorien could find an extract, but I couldn't even use it this turn. We can Gurmag just to chump. Swing for 6. I mean, this doesn't keep us alive. So I have to Gurmag to chump. I could Lorien Reveal to try to look for it, but if they then have a way to give it protection, I'm going to die. But I think I need to do that anyway, because if I just hold up Counterspell, I have to just top deck it, and that's just not going to work very well. I could also cast down another Fangs. Second Fangs would be really funny. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to use it because we're not going to have a second creature. So it's not going to matter. Cast down, unfortunately, just gets stopped by the Umbra. So we need a second cast down, and we don't even have a second black mana for that. Plains, they're going to attack, so it looks like we're not dead here. I guess if I get a Snuff Out with cast down, that could be two kill spells. But they have a Wonder Weave. Okay, but that's fine. Come on. Snuff Out's good. Okay, Snuff Out. That's great. And I have a counterspell if they have an Emergent Scathe. I do go to 4, but then I go back up with this. Oh, also I realized the Unexpected Fangs is just almost lethal here. If I cast it, it would be... Okay, I did this first so that they chump, which is exactly what I want, because that makes it less likely that we're going to die. Snuff Out, and then cast down. Perfect. And I think that might be the game. We can counterspell any creature. All right. 2 very close games with Heroic, which is kind of how it goes. They get really fast, and we have to find... the answers. We didn't even find the extract, but still we're able to get there. All right, we're round 5 here. Coleman P is someone in the Black Sack Discord, so it's possible we'll be battling against that. This hand is obviously unkeepable. This one looks very similar, but we do have a land with the Lorien, so I think we can keep it. Probably get rid of the Deep Analysis. You don't really want that in your opening hand. Of course, we have double Disrupt. If we are against Black Sack, this could be pretty decent. They have a fair number of instants and sorceries and a low land count. But it could also be a number of other things. Could also keep the Deep Analysis since we have the Brainstorms, so to hopefully mill with a Thought Scour. That might be a little better. Maybe we get rid of 1 Disrupt then. It is our only interaction at the moment, but I kind of like that actually. I think even if it is Black Sack, they play a fair number of creatures. Double Disrupt might take a while to really take advantage of, unless they just lead out with a bunch of Village Rites on 1 land. Alright, keep this one, get rid of the Disrupt, play an Aquifer, and pass. Black Sack indeed. I guess Shambling Gas doesn't mean it has to be that, but I'm going to guess that. Okay, Lorien, we are going to cycle for an island. I'm going to hold up the Disrupt because if they did keep a 1-lander and go for a Village Rites right away, Disrupt's going to be really key. And even if not, I can just Brainstorm and like Lorien in our upkeep. Oh, okay, actually it is something different. Grixis Affinity with a Shambling Ghast. Definitely not 3 cards I usually see on the board at the same time. Looks like they're going to Ninja here. Okay, I'm sufficiently confused. I guess my thought now is Dimir Affinity Fairies. That's what the seat's for. Geist does make a treasure, technically. Well, now we want to find... I should have brainstormed first, because what if we found a Snuff Out? We didn't, but we do find a Cast Down. Well, now I'm not sure if Fumes is going to be good. We didn't find a Mental Note, so we're definitely getting rid of Deep Analysis. Fumes could be relevant for a Fairies opponent, but I think we just do that. I could cycle in the upkeep. I think it's fine to actually, yeah, let's just draw back the Fumes. This way I get to cast down. I still hold up Disrupt if that's relevant, and then I can Lorien Revealed away the Deep Analysis. But they definitely got me good, thinking it was Black Sack. Blood Fountain, okay, yeah. Definitely Affinity, so I'm guessing Refurbs and Thoughtcast here. Oh, Disrupt the Thoughtcast. That's pretty nice. We do draw back the Deep Analysis, but that's fine. I think that value is well worth it. Plus, I can Brainstorm here. Okay, we get the Mental Note, so Fumes could hit Refurbs and things, but I think I'm okay saying it's not as worth it. Fangs could be pretty good still. I'm going to put these 2 back, but then we're going to Mental Note them. And then I'm going to cycle a Lorien, because obviously we don't want to miss our land drop. Going to get an island, but I didn't want to miss the Deep Analysis in the grave. And I'm going to play a spell, I'm going to hold up a Spell Pierce. Obviously I don't want to, not hold up a Spell Pierce. If I have it, I could get some pretty good value. There's a Refurb. Snuff Out's not great there, but it could be good against another Ninja. Yeah, I guess Fangs can go. Mirror Enforcer. Okay. I wasn't necessarily expecting that. Obviously, Affinity makes sense, but not usually. Sometimes it doesn't go up to that. I'm going to cycle this because we have a Deep Analysis to use, so I'd like more mana. Feels kind of like if we just get a Terror on the field, we'll be in a kind of an okay spot. Drawing, land, snuff out, counterspell. Well, I guess I snuff out the Enforcer. We're going to take 4 off of it anyway. I'm taking a lot here. They can also then Blood Fountain back the Ninja and the Enforcer, but I have some counter spells and things. We have not seen any of our 8 creatures at all. We only have 8 creatures, but, you know, we're a third of the way through our deck. Moon-Circuit Hacker for the refurb. I could snuff that out, but it would cost me 4 life. I don't think that's worth it. It's like we're really low on life at the moment. I'm going to counterspell the refurb. Alright, there's a Gurmag. It's decent, I suppose. I'm going to leave up a couple mana to bluff a counterspell, but I didn't want to delve all of the cards away in case we get another Gurmag or whatever. If they have a cast down, I can spell pierce it. That'd be pretty decent. Now I can't, and that would be less decent. That's exactly what they have. Pretty rude for them to not do it on the end step. They've been a snuff out of their own. Okay, another Gurmag. Well, I'm going to snuff this out, play a Gurmag Angler. We already got rid of the Suffocating Fumes, so we're at 5 life and can't do much else. They've still got this Blood Fountain. They do us the courtesy of casting down at the end step this time, unless they have a Metallic Rebuke, which would suck. But they wanted to be able to Blood Fountain on their turn, I assume. Harrier Strix, yeah. We haven't seen any actual fairies, so it's possible it's just Affinity Ninjas. Thought Scour into an island. They buy back a couple guys. I think we're dead. Bit unfortunate. We do get some more counter spells, annuls, and sabotage. Counter magic feels decent too, or not counter magic. Graveyard Hate. Snuff out's good for ninjas, not much else. Fumes hits Strix and Refurb, and Moon-Circuit Hacker. Definitely a weird spot. Disrupt was really good against that Thoughtcast, but it feels like they have very few sorceries in this instance. Otherwise, maybe we catch a cast down or a snuff out. I guess snuff out has a fair chance because they might do it when they're tapped out. I think this is not a Fangs matchup. I mean, it's kind of fairies like we were doing before. Maybe Reunion is not so needed. I don't know. We're going to try this. Obviously, I don't know how to sideboard against a deck I've never played against before. Sure. We can stave off ninjas for a while. Deep Analysis can be some good value. I might just try to hardcast a Deep Analysis a couple times this game. Alright, they mulligan to 6. Swamp and a Blood Fountain. Thought Scour. I'm just going to cycle this. I guess I'm getting an island, and I already had an island, so I probably didn't need to do it right there. Whatever. This way we can bluff a Spell Pierce, or, you know, they have to play around to Disrupt now, which is kind of cool. Because maybe they had a Thoughtcast they didn't want to use. Or they do have the Spell Stutter. Luckily we have the Snuff out, but otherwise this would be pretty annoying. Thought Scour, Mills, Counterspell, and Island. And we're drawing a million lands now. Definitely gonna be casting this Deep Analysis. Like, even if they refurb here, I think I just pitch a land. Mental note. I mean, by doing this, I am opening up to another spell setter that I can't cast down, but we just have nothing else going for us. I think it's worth it. They've been a cast down in response. Okay. Well, a lot of counter magic now. Not so much beforehand, but I like them getting rid of a cast down because obviously that's a very good card in this matchup in general. They do have a Sprite and are eager to cast it, so they surely have a Ninja. There's the Hacker. And they have a Refurb. Sure. Get rid of this Ice Tunnel. Steel Sabotage. Well, I want to cast down one of these. Really wish we had removal for both. I guess I could bounce the refurb and then counter it on the way down, but that could be worth it if they get a ninja off. I'm gonna cast down this guy and just Bajuka Bog. Yeah, if they go for a ninja here, it's pretty annoying. But I guess they bounce it and then we get to counter it on the way down without having to use 2 of these, but Duress. Well, that's annoying. I could counterspell, but then I'm not holding anything up, so let's just let them see what it is. Probably take the counterspell just because it can get Spell Stutter Sprite and these cannot. Not to mention it can get Thoughtcast. I'm gonna Mental Note just in case I get a Spell Pierce or a Disrupt if we kept any of those in. No, I think we cut them all. Snuff out. Okay, they're missing land drops. We were at 12. I'm probably gonna cast this Deep Analysis, so losing more life. There's a Terror. Okay, not a great way to protect it. So I don't have a counter spell of any kind, but they don't have the mana to cast it down at the moment. They could snuff it out. Well, oh well. I could Thought Scour here and maybe find like Spell Pierce or something, but you know, without them being able to Spell Stutter it. But then I don't hold up both of these, which I might want, like 2 Steel Sabotage or Null, although I guess they know about these, but that's okay. We're going to use a Sabotage since Yeah, I guess then they spell stutter it. And then I snuff out the spell stutter. I go to 5, then they refurb hit us down to 3. I could sabotage the refurb. Yeah, I think we'll snuff that out. And yeah, I'm going to bounce this. They're pinched on mana, so it's not terrible. It's not as bad as it looks, but you know, still not great. Mental Note, Spell Bomb. It's Thought Scour again. I mean, if we hit a Fangs here... Because we brought that in, didn't we? No. We probably specifically said that we didn't need it. Yeah, we didn't. Man, I always want a Fangs in this deck. I don't know why I ever cut it. Here's a Spell Bomb. Attack for 5. Also using 2 Steel Sabotages, they know we have the Sentinel. So maybe I should have annulled the first thing and then sabotaged, and then they wouldn't know about the other one. But, well, they just cast into it anyway. Because they have a Dispel, sure. I could draw a random card and discard it, which would be nice to keep them off lands, but I think I'd rather not. Let's crack the Spell Bomb now. Gurmag is good, for example. And a Lorien, okay. It's not bad. Gurmag, I guess I should probably just be doing this after attacks. There's not really a reason to do it before, but here I already am. Because maybe they take it, and then if I had played the Gurmag, they wouldn't have wanted to, but I'm sure they do. I mean, we're at 5. Not a great spot for sure. Duress. Might as well cycle this Lorien for a land, since we're going to have to discard it anyway. Obviously, I'd prefer to draw 3 off of it, but that just wasn't happening once they cast the Duress. Shambling Ghast is a blocker. Okay. Land isn't very good. Swing. They have to block. I realized they didn't have to block, then they could just kill me here. They could have a Spell Stutter to flash in, which would kill us. They didn't, though. Mirror Enforcer blocks, but if they don't have another creature, then they have another Enforcer, so they can swing with the refurb, double block. So if I can draw a removal spell, I could win. Come on, cast down. Nope. Gurmag. We attack. They attack us back and we die. Unfortunate. Pretty close there. I think our deck just isn't set up great to beat artifact decks anyway. The fact that it's kind of artifacts and fairies makes it kind of tough. And also I just don't know how to fight a deck I don't play against much. Well, we got a nice 3-2 with the deck. Not bad for the first time I was taking it out. Honestly, I really enjoyed this. I'm surprised that I haven't tried it, that it's taken me this long to give it a go. I just love Unexpected Fangs. It's a fantastic card in general. I love that a deck can not just sideboard, but main deck it, because it makes so much sense. So I probably should play this deck a little bit more, and I think the Disrupt was really good. I thought it was maybe just like, you know, a fad tech, something that somebody thought of that didn't have a lot of staying power, but I kind of liked it because you can just cycle it in the early turns while still disrupting your opponent just a little bit, making them pay an additional mana. Even if it doesn't hinder them too much, it still fills your graveyard. Basically, you're just cycling it. But it's also so much value when you actually do get to hit something. So I kind of really like the Disrupt. Other than that, I'm not really sure if there's anything to change with the deck. Feels pretty solid to me, but had a very good time playing it. In any case, thank you so much for watching, and thank you to my $10 supporters and up. Howard Granger, Rafael Rodriguez, JD NPX, Jason Golombiewski, Halkaz, Cody Cowell, Ill Intent, and Emmanuel Mayer. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you all next time.